Okay, we're going to go over Fibonacci, which is the homework problem, recursion. So, when we first talked about Fibonacci, I told you if I wanted some Fibonacci number, I'll label it n. I said that that's equal to the sum of the previous two Fibonacci numbers. Okay? So, the other piece of information I gave you was given. It was our base case. I said that Fibonacci 1 equals 1 and Fibonacci 2 is also 1. So, for our construction for our program, we made a method public int fib. I said public static int Fibonacci, n. Remember our first thing is our base case. So I said if n is equal to 1, or if n is equal to 2, we can return 1. Because that was our base case. I said that Fibonacci 1 and Fibonacci 2 are both 1. Then we have our else. And we will return Fibonacci n minus 1 plus Fibonacci n minus 2. Okay? That is our homework. Is everyone clear how that works? You're just the recursive part. Base case makes sense. This is just the given. Good? Not good? Confused how that came out? Recursion usually works for like 4. Okay, so really quick, I'll demonstrate how Fibonacci 4 is calculated. Just for the record, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. Fourth Fibonacci number is 3 for the record. So really quick, I'm going to call Fib 4 because I want the fourth Fibonacci number. So what happens is I go over here, I'm looking and say, is n exactly 1 or exactly 2? It's not. So I'm returning Fibonacci n minus 1 plus Fibonacci n minus 2. So this, remember when we say return, we can replace what the function is with what it returns. So our n was 4, so we're returning Fibonacci 3 plus Fibonacci 2. Okay? So we start from left to right when evaluating the expression. So we say Fibonacci 3. Fibonacci 3 is something we don't know, so we go in and say, is it exactly 1 or exactly 2? It is not. So we return Fibonacci n minus 1 and Fibonacci n minus 2. So we return Fibonacci 2 plus Fibonacci 1. So we evaluate the expression from left to right. So Fibonacci 2, we jump into it. We say is n exactly 1 or exactly 2? It is, so we can return 1. So we're just going to change this to 1. Then Fibonacci 1, we call it again. We say is it exactly 1 or exactly 2? It is, it's 1. So we go down here, this is 1. So now we have our 1 plus 1, and that's 2. So that now that we have calculated this, Fibonacci 2 is Fibonacci 1 is Fibonacci 3, which was 2. So that means now we can go back all the way up to Fibonacci 3 plus Fibonacci 2. This was 2, so it's 2 plus Fibonacci 2. We have to evaluate this. We call Fibonacci 2. Fibonacci 2, we say is n exactly 1 or exactly 2? It is. It's 1. We get 1 from here, and then we can do 2 plus 1 is 3. and that's equivalent to Fibonacci cube of Fibonacci 2, which was Fibonacci 4. And with that, the recursion ends. Okay? Are we good on that then? Okay. So, what we're going to do, we're going to cover really quick our introduction to data types. So, really quick, when you type out your variables, you've been using things before like int, double, boolean. What's the difference between string? When you type out string, you create the variable. What is the difference? I'll give you a hint. You should look at the first letter of all the variables that you used before, and then when you type string, and you type that when you're creating that variable. Capitalize. So, when we talk about capitalized things, that's also the name of classes. So, this is our introduction to a data type that we've been using. So that's called a non-primitive data type, and this is a string. So string, when you say string, is actually a class. Integer, boolean, and double that start with lowercase letters are actually primitive data types. They're a little bit different. So the cool thing about strings is you can call methods on strings. They have a set of them that come with every string that you can use. So really quick, we're going to look at a few of these. So what you can do is, as an example, you can port in a string. Let's make one called str1. We'll make it hello world. So we can call methods on this. For example, we can pull an integer value. If we wanted an integer, we can say it's equal to str1 dot length. Okay. Length returns the length of the string. So, as an example, hello is 5, that space is 6. Then we have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we'll get a return value A is 11. Okay? So this is an example of a method you can call on a string to get information from it. So another example is sometimes you only want pieces of a string. So I'm going to say str2 equals, and I can call it str1 dot substring. Maybe I just want hello. So I start at index 0. Sorry. So I start at index 0 and I go to index 6. Sorry, 0 to 5. And then this will give me just hello. So I pass in where the first, when you pass this in, the convention Java looks for is 2 integer values, the same way you've called methods in the past. The first number you put in is the first letter you want, and then the second number you pass in is the first letter you don't want. Okay? So really quick, I'm going to show off the numbering for Hello World. So we have H, E, L, L, O, space, W, O, R, L, D. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay? There's 11 total characters. They're numbered from 0 to 10, the same way arrays work. Okay? So when I pass in substring, I put in two numbers. The first letter I want is at 0. The first letter I don't want is 5, which is that space. So this will give me hello. Okay, if I wanted just world, the first letter I want is 6. The first index I don't want is 11. Okay, when using substring. Yes.
So 0 and 5 could be for an index, like for say if you had like just a space before hello, then it'll still print from 0 to 5, including the space.
Yeah, if I specify from 0 to 6, it would print out hello and then the space at the end. You just probably wouldn't see it on your terminal.
But you can start with the blank space, right? You don't have to start with a letter.
Start with the blank. When you say start with a blank space?
So per se, like there's just a blank, and like how there's a space 5 doesn't correspond to anything. Like you could start it with 0 being just empty, right? And then still call it to go from a certain range.
You could start at 5 if that's what your question is.
Yeah, like this is still like you can imagine this is like a grid.
Yeah. So space actually has a character which corresponds to that nothing character. So you can't do that yet.
Are we good on these two so far? Okay, I'm going to show one more. This one's called contains. So contains returns a Boolean value. And it basically what you do is you call it on a string, and it tells you if what you pass in, another string, exists in the string that you're talking about. So for example, if I said string 1 dot contains hello, it would say, is this right here, hello, exists in my string 1? It does, so this would return true. Another example, then our next one we could do is we do string 1 dot contains test. Because this string 1 does not contain the text test, so this will return false. So we good on that then? Here are those are the couple of examples. Length, substring, and contains. 3 really popular methods to call on strings. Are we doing that?
Should have compiled something.
Okay, so we're going to be really quick.
Why don't we have them copy the string 1 hello world down, and we'll have them test some of these other functions that you didn't write down.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to create the string. You can name it str1. Just put in hello world real quick. I want to show you the character. Okay. And then what we want you to do is basically, we're going to have you print out what these end up giving you. So you don't have to create variables each time. You can just print out str1.length, str1.substring 0 to 5, str1.contains. But we want you to test every single method. So what we want, print out the length, then print out a substring of either of the two words, hello or world, and then try contains with a part of it that works. I'll give you this one. Try this. Do 8 LLO space W, and then you can do contains with something else of your choice. Okay? And then, so each of these you should probably contain in a print line. On Friday. It's kind of bad for us. Just like, because I told them I would be there until Friday. I gave them the base case, the whole name of the method I created base case.
There's just copy stuff on the board.
Oh, stream 1. Ah.
Oh, I think the one that of all these is I used was equals, split, and equals split compared to and to lowercase two. It's not because I have not used them for the first one.
I've been taking a look at that. I should watch it.
Everything I used was created for classes, so it's
I use trim split equals hash for one. Like I just have to keep on all of this, except for the count. I literally would have good job too. I wish I knew how to test it. I just put your layers I was looking and then took the substring and compared it. L-I-G-H-C-H-T?
yeah, it's not like those are yeah, you already
This
have
is no pronunciation.
the concatenation operator.
It's silent.
Oh, it's the same.
Oh,
It's like how you create a string with N.
Oh.
STRS and then just
That is just
because they're both of type
who the heck
Yeah.
is Kurt Master?
Why? Wait, I can still over.
You know what, like his
Operators do need S tier or whatever. Yeah, it just doesn't have to keep it and allows you to sign it.
What is 1, 2, 3, 4?
Are we good? Trying this out?
Yeah, wait, what are those, oh, okay, I didn't get it. The second line is 2.
After the second line, the
No,
substring,
no. The string dot length,
string dot length.
yeah, quotation marks, not semicolon. And then what is that?
This?
Yeah.
This is just what, I just heard what it's returning. This will just give you the number 11. You don't have to write these.
Oh, okay.
This is the code. Just to test it out.
Dude, it's on your head. No, just hit it on your head. It's right on.
So bad. Eric, stop.
It's not, just look at it.
Character at.
See?
He wants to touch us, that's what you're at. He wants to touch, you want to touch us? Is that what you're at? Do you want to touch me?
You're disgusting.
Your cat's kind of small.
You know that's very illegal for you to touch us.
God.
Yeah.
That's hard to
His parents went,
What?
what's up, my dude?
What?
What?
Maybe we should chill water.
Oh yeah. Oh, you split like four. Wow.
Yeah. See, we talk about rapes.
Do you want my dude?
I was surprised say talk about rapes and shooting things.
I'll shoot my dude at me.
I only saw my dude.
What at?
No, you want me to shoot my dude at you? Which one? My dude. You're not a
You got two.
Mike is broke. That's what it's like. That's not real.
Connor got it right.
He's too overconfident.
He said he doesn't have
No. I am very confused, not confused. I am confused. Why?
Oh, you're still not on private.
Why you
No
want
one cares. It's not. Go to it. Go to it. Oh, you go to the website. What's wrong?
But you only need the island.
Why did you get famous?
I'm already MCing, man. I was curious about it. We didn't my balls were harder than once I played. My balls were harder than once I played.
Oh my god. Chemistry.
Even though they were like MCs.
So we're gonna talk
Yeah.
about another one.
Ready?
So there's another called.
It's really I have a muscle.
I'm just gonna use Hello World because it's up there. So STR1 or I'll need strings equals str1 to upper. And then it does not uppercase. Yeah, that's how it. Okay. So let's say I do this. I'm calling to uppercase on string 1, which is hello world. What this does is it will convert all the characters, regardless of whether they're already uppercase or lowercase, to uppercase characters. So what string 1 will contain is this.
I got so many errors.
Yeah, so hello world in all caps will be contained in string 1 if we do this line of code. And let's say we do the other version, str1 equals str1 dot to lowercase. What this does is it will make the lowercase version of the word here. So very simply, you get the idea of how that works. I'm gonna erase part of this. What should we use with the user space? Oh wow. I'll just write that up here. What word should we use? Okay, let's say I have a sentence, and let's say I want to split all these words into separate arrays, or separate strings. So this is one big array right now, and we're going to call this a string array. So string with square brackets. And I'm going to write that up here. So string str2 equals. How's this going to work?
It's all with the string and return string.
Yeah.
Did it wrong?
No.
Actually, this would just be one string, and then it returns a string.
Yeah.
So, right.
Yes, I spent too much.
So string str2 is equal to this. This is just one big string right now. We want to break it up into separate strings. So we're going to have an array, and then it's going to have one string, two strings, and so on, all the way until we reach the very last string. The way that we can do this is if we use what we call a delimiter. And the delimiter is a character that we're going to use to separate the entire string. In this case, the delimiter is going to be a space. So every time we see a space, we're going to break this up into a string. We're going to break this up into a string, and so on. So the way that we can use that is to say string array new array equals str2 dot split. Yeah. Yeah. So you can use split by passing in whatever you want to separate the words in here. In this case, this is just going to be a blank space, so every time you see a space, it's going to create a string, 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 and a string. So this can get kind of interesting if we use other characters for this particular example. So what do you think would happen if I had a M character instead of a space for this? What strings would I get? Anybody have an answer? Like, what do you think will happen when we can run this and see what happens? Yeah.
So it just prints out hello world with both spaces,
Okay.
and then
So this is one string,
and then I think it's just the Y and then space NA, and then the next string is just E to the rest of the sentence.
yeah. So the space will not be included in these strings, but you'll notice that you get some different chunks of the string because that's where you set your delimiters to. So M here, and this is a string, this is a string, this is a string. So that's how this works. We'll talk about the.
Okay, really quick, guys. We're gonna do one practice. So you're gonna create your own large string. Okay. The first one we're gonna use is a nice large grocery list. Okay. So pick, I guess, all your favorite foods. Pretty open. So and just separate them with spaces in a nice long string. So like butter, space, milk, space, eggs, space, Cheetos, space, apple, space, peaches. Get like 7 or 8, okay? Pretty good.
You split between
What's your favorite switch? I like Ochinchi.
Those spaces.
Oh, no. Just spaces. Sorry, just to clarify, guys, you don't have to put commas or anything. Just spaces.
Wait.
Space each time. When you make your grocery list, you can just use simple spaces. Butter, space. Milk, space. Eggs, space. Tea,
Or what are we doing?
space.
We're not.
You're creating a string. You're just creating a big string right now. We're gonna use it for a couple of these, okay? So pick like 5 or 6 things to add to your grocery list, I guess.
Yeah, I have big sauce.
Sausages, hot dogs, tacos. Pick everything.
Eggplant, beef,
Egg,
rice, chicken, juno.
Why not?
What's your name?
Ochinchi.
That sounded so good.
Ochinchi.
No, it's just stuck in my brain, so can you please shut up?
It's a shame. Wait, how do we print this out? What do you think?
We're not printing it yet.
Yeah.
There's only one instruction, guys. Just create a string, pick 6 things, separate with spaces.
Too bad.
I like the cow.
Or even more. Doesn't- At least 6 things. You can add more if you have more favorite foods or things you want to add. So then we're going to have a little bit of fun with split. Okay?
Watermelon.
No, no.
Suck.
Never mind.
You can respond with
Please shut up.
Yes.
Exactly. No, that's probably the string stuff. String, runner, string, that equals, no, this needs to be not string one. Yeah.
Okay, for those of you that have your 6 strings, really quick, we're gonna do a little bit of printing, okay? So make sure when you're printing, again, we're gonna do system cut out print line. Okay? I'm gonna shorten it for now. Just remember that the system.out part is important.
Wait, what? Remember the system.out.
Remember the system.out part. I'm not gonna write it yet. I'm just gonna get this on the board real quick. So send out a print line. So we're gonna create our new string. We're gonna.
Thank you so much.
Have we done a raised up 2 string? We haven't.
No, not Ross. You mean
So
that?
really quick, guys, we're gonna create a string array. We're gonna call it list, and we're gonna use str1 dot split.
Wait, hold on. Hold on.
One,
What are these strings?
of course.
Is the S capitalized?
So that should not be capitalized.
str. Or 2 string.
Or split.
Split's lowercase.
Yeah, split's lowercase.
The string in S is capital. Here, I'll be able to make it clear. Capital, not capital, capital,
Gotcha.
not capital. How do I capital? Yeah. You good? We tried this out? So, what do you guys get?
Entire array.
The entire array split out. So your grocery list split very nicely, right? A string of each thing in your grocery list. Every time there was a space, it created a new part in your array. Yeah? Okay, we're gonna, just really quick, just for the example, I was using space from before, I'm gonna change it to A. Okay? Character A. Problems?
See,
Dude.
what are you doing? I'm sorry, Sam. Yes.
Oh, you missed your own side.
Wait, it's not working. It's actually not working. It's not working.
No, there's a space.
It's not working. No, I don't care. It's not working. It's not working. Why is it not working? Wait, why is it not working? You don't care. Here. Why should it work?
What?
One of those pictures.
Yeah, arrays got two streets, so you need to change this to A R R A Y S.
It's not working. You have to that's a problem. Sorry. Here, guys, I'm gonna change my print line statement. I just a little bit backwards.
Arnold.
Well, with counting.
What is going on? It's not printing anything. Because you must believe.
Oh,
Very good.
why is it raised?
Wait. I don't know what we're doing. It's not working.
Yeah.
Wow, now I'm okay. You need to watch your You need to watch the corner of the no confidence. No tengo cero. Wait, is this? Oh,
They need to import them as well.
ID one has import, but yeah, they don't.
Is this how it
They already
works?
said that, and they need to put it
Why is
for
this
drop
so
down util stuff. Yeah.
Okay. If you guys are in IDE 1, you'll have an import statement at the top that's java.util.star.
Yeah.
You're gonna want to add that if you don't have that. Okay. If at the top of your code, above the public class IDE 1 or public class something, if you don't have an import that looks like this, you're gonna want it for this part.
Wait, is it normal if like every letter is split?
No. Okay, I don't have it.
Am I supposed to get this?
Oh, no, it should be splitting the words. So you have the space between two.
Sandals.
Okay, yeah, two professionals, the space and try to.
We had to make moves.
So if you guys have any problems, just let us know.
I found it.
That would be my bad. I'm sorry. A little bit off.
Yeah, I don't think
So, like, you can
Pretty good.
at the top one, yes, especially because ID 1 has this thing actually already. Not right there.
How does this work for Eclipse? How do you
That's the
import
point.
Just at the top of file.
top of the package?
Below package.
The what package?
Package defines the highest level flight. So below package, if you
I'm not a cook. I'm gonna work things. I mean, it's gonna sound like him.
Hamburger, please. Hamburger.
the line of code will go right here.
And what?
You get that?
Hamburger, please.
Java star, right?
Star. This is a star, like a multiplication sign. It's like 7, I think. Shift 7.
Yeah, it's the.
Shift 8.
Yeah, asterisk 8.
Yeah. Shift 8. Asterisk. Should be good.
Oh, I found it.
It's just a J is lowercase.
It's a lowercase j, not uppercase.
What?
The
Oh,
Java.
sorry, yeah. Yeah, the.
Yes.
I'm gonna switch to ID.
Yeah. Go ahead. Piss me off.
I did not do them.
Yeah,
I was just import.
well, that's only one line I use like this. I'll give you everything.
Yeah. I don't even know. She's bad at long. I just have a lot of experience. That sucks.
I don't think that's how much
You're gonna see me even have.
What's his name? What's his name?
His name is Jackie Miles.
Okay, then I'm gonna Jack in on my computer. I want to put my version. I want Jack Wayne, Jack
this project, writing.
Where's that going?
Yeah, I'm making a version of this.
Okay, have we tried this, guys?
Okay,
We tried it with both. We tried to split with a space and tried to split with an A. Saw the differences now. Are we good then? We tried this? Okay, really quickly, with that, we're gonna do one of the weird things in Java, or it'll appear to be weird. So, what we're gonna do is, we're gonna do some checking for comparison, okay? So really quick, what I want you to do is, we're gonna create a string called str1. We're gonna give it hi. We're going to create a string str2. We're going to give it hi as well. And what I want you to do is, I want just a comparison. If str1 equals str2, I want you to print out equal. If they aren't, I want you to print out not equal.
I can't see. You know why? Are you fine now? You work for it. We draw the line, okay? Stop.
Okay? So, copy down this code, and then run it. What happens?
A lot. Nobody's asking you, okay? Nobody's asking you, okay? Was it rhetorical? No. No, you don't. Check it here. I'm Marshall. Every minute. Good to know. I don't know about the right state of that. You're right. Why is it a work jacket type of performance? As long as there's something wrong with the small. Sorry, I got it. I'm not going to talk.
No, what are those? What are those?
Did you just say what are those?
What are those? Those don't look good. Yes, thank you.
What?
I feel good now. I don't know. I'm still fixing my first coat because I'm super.
Okay, do we run this, guys? What do we get?
Equal.
Equal. Duh. Yes?
Yeah.
Duh. Okay, we're gonna change it up a bit. Okay? Hard mode. Super hard mode. Okay, the last one was equal, right? We said string high. Now, instead of the second one being also string high, we're going to make it string, we're going to make it h plus I.
I wonder what it'll print now.
I wonder if it'll print equal or not. Duh, right? I'm going to say duh. What are we doing? This is stupid. I want to go home. That's an okay.
Wait a minute. Oh wait, yeah. The strings add up, right?
It's an okay answer. This counts of high impact here.
It brings up equal. I think
Yes.
I. Equal because the strings add up.
All three.
Remember how they smash together?
Yep. Okay, so again, they were equal. Same thing. Again, duh, right? Okay, we're going to change it one more time, okay? We're going to say string 2 equals h. We're going to add another line of code that says string 2 equals string 2 plus I. Okay? Add a single line of code. So instead of doing our concatenation on one line, we're going to do it on 2 now. And what does it print out?
Peanuts taste really good. No. One either equal or not equal. We don't know. It's one of the two. One of the above. Huh?
There you go.
Are they equal? Not equal. Interesting. Are they just equal to 4? Did we change anything? How interesting. Why so serious?
Mine is so good.
So, what happened now? Are they equal?
Not equal.
They're not equal. What the heck just happened?
It says
They were high. It was high and high, and they were equal. Then we had high, and we're comparing against h plus I. And they concatenate, right?
Yes.
We can get the last one. We concatenated high and negation the I into high, and they were equal. But this time we said h, and then we did I on a separate line, and it's different now. And now they're not equal. What the heck? So here's what happens. Okay, for the mystery of this. When we do concatenations of strings, there's this part. The reasoning for this we don't need to know, but you're going to want to know the solution. So we would agree that h plus I is high, yes?
Yeah, that was
And according to Java, sometimes that's true and sometimes it's not, right? Sometimes it was true when we did h plus I, and then sometimes it wasn't true. But that's not really useful. We want it to be true every time. We don't want to be, well, when it feels like doing it right, it'll do it. So, here's what happens, okay? When you create strings in Java, there's this thing called the literal string pool. And the literal string pool exists to help you out and save memory in Java. Again, you don't have to know any of this, but this is what is happening. When you did, so let's say the code before was h plus I, okay? Is h plus I, okay? So the first thing it does is it scans your code for strings, okay? Literal string values. For example, there was a high, and then we had two highs, right? So we said string 1 is high, yes? On our, here, I'll do actually this one first. So I'm going to sneakily comment out this line of code. So when they are both the same, we created string 1, we pointed to high, yes? With string 2, we created it, we pointed to high. It already exists in our string pool. We don't have to create another one. Agreed?
Yes.
So when we ran through, we checked the first one, we said is high equal to high, right? String 1 and string 2. Yes, they're in the same location, same high. So really quick, we're going to change it up one more time, and let's see what happens. So on our second line of code, we have h plus I. So our first line of code executes just the same. It gives us high. Our second line of code, string 2, it says what is that. What's string addition? Oh, just concatenate them. Easy. Throw H and I together, we get high. String 2 says, oh, we have that in the literal string pool. Done. Okay? So, now I'm going to erase this part from before, take out my high. So what happened now is this. It scanned your code, looking for what to do. It found high. Then it says string 2 is H. It adds a new one called H and points it here. Okay? Then, what I do is I add an I to it, and I point here, and then I make the comparison. Are these pointing to the same high? No. I created an H and then tacked on an I. It's still high, but I did it differently. This one I started with high, this one I had H and I tacked on an I. So, this equals equals works for primitive types when comparing things. It compares if they're equivalent when we say that. When you use it for other things, because remember, a string is not a primitive data type, okay? A string is an object. When it compares objects with equals equals, it looks for object references. Or in this case, where they point to in our literal string pool. In this case, even though they contain the same data, they're not the exact same reference, and it therefore returns false. So here's the important part that you really want to know is how do you fix this? Because you don't want Java to just decide when it feels like saying they're equal when it's not. These have a method just simply for doing that. It is called dot equals. So we say string 2 dot equals string 1. Or in this case, it's string 1 dot equals string 2. Okay? Got you. You can try this again. And you'll see that now it prints out true.
Ain't you do your work? Stop screaming.
And they're true now?
Yes.
Very cool. They weren't equal before and now they are. Interesting.
Oh yeah.
So,
Come on.
here.
What do you want? Oh, Eugene. Work.
Okay, so here's what you guys need to know. Okay, besides the using dot equals. So, as a first thing, if you're going to compare strings, compare them with dot equals. Equals equals is for primitive types only. Okay, and this comes to the second point of information. If you ever create your own object, such as dog or cat, you want to compare them with dot equals and not with equals equals. Okay? For anything that's not a primitive data type, you want to compare it with dot equals and not with equals equals. Okay? Are we clear on that? Equals equals compares object references for if they're equivalent. Dot equals will compare the actual information in one to the information in the other. Okay? You're going to have to create your own when you create some classes later, but for now, that's how you should compare anything of type string or any class you create yourself. Got that?
And I think we got error. Complication, error.
Have we done and taking a book from the console? Definitely. Right? We did input from the console?
String to blah 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 blah.
Yeah, we did.
Not touching those. I'm just getting the fly off. Oh my god. It's not on my ribs. What ribs? Crying.
Okay guys, we're going to do a couple of our programming problems. So, really quick, I'm going to give you a quick one. So, I'm going to give you a string right up here. I'm going to call it str1. So, this is my string 1, okay? Welcome to the terminal as a string, okay? You're going to want to type this one out. So, what I want you to do is I want you to print out each character on a new line, okay? So, when you print it out, it'll look like this.
What? But we're not blue screen this.
So it'll print out something in basically vertically. Okay? I will highly recommend using a for loop. And then what you're going to want a method that I will into the body of the loop will look like this. Okay? Your for loop will have some information here. You will want to use system.out.println. And then character at. Okay, so str1 dot char at. And you're going to want to put something right here, as well as create your for loop. Okay? Got it? So fast. Okay? So, one more time, I'll create the first part of this. So you're going to want to fill in something right here, something right here, and something right there.
Wait, something where?
Here and here.
Wherever there's an underline, okay? I'll give you this part. I want you to print out every character just vertically, basically. Whatever the string has, vertically.
Did you see the I can say hello, like auto space. Your folder. Please put up your folder. You what? It's running me. Classic one. You need one.
I don't know. Well, we can make it.
What is that like? I don't know. So like, give me 5 comics. I'm in it. So like, welcome to the
It's hard to.
I'll show you the
Control thing.
What my letter?
Why have you seen that peanut butter guy? Long neck. Have you seen the long neck guy? Yeah, he rubs you out. He's like, yeah.
I'll be my console. Stop fucking. Sure, there are people in the world that are good at Fortnite.
Just break down this.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Your turn, Jared.
Oh yeah.
How much you? I don't get it. I like it.
Print out everything vertically.
Okay,
I'm giving you the code that should go here. You fill in here, here, and here.
Yeah, but that's like 3 things, and I can't do that.
It's like 3 things. What happens if you have to write the whole thing yourself?
So, well, let's see.
That's what make it easy.
No, it just has to match this. Okay. Or writing it down.
Should it be I on accent, STR,
I'll bring that all night.
SDR what?
Then what you say like I?
One of these things counts for around.
One.
Yes.
I'm sure we're talking about pigs here.
Okay.
Except still we're more equal than others.
Alright, let me get my tractor here over your head. Hey kids, I have oh my dog. Get right here.
What? One, two. Okay.
Got it yet? No.
Yep. Yeah.
You got it?
Yeah.
Yes.
I looked at it.
Right.
Okay, yes, that's.
It's like one of these games, like PS2 games where they like give you hints slowly. You don't get the answer.
Maybe ask for another hint.
Maybe have another
I
hint.
got it.
Preferably the French line.
The print.
You're younger than me.
This guy just called me.
Try putting in some number, like 4. What happens if you put in just 4 here?
Quotation mark and I.
What's the difference between apples?
I'm not.
Figure out what. No, it says have an error.
Quotation marks.
I think you're a error.
Not quotation marks.
Why do you put out a point over +1?
Look at that.
Because it's still
They
looping
missed
until
a
a
C. They missed a semicolon out there.
Oh.
I'm like, what is that expected?
so.
How does
What did I do wrong?
Probably like
Welcome to the terminal. What did I do?
So, I will give you one more hint, okay? System.out.print line, character at, prints out a singular character, okay? Each time. This will continually print out a character. Okay? You pass in an index. Remember, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? If you put in a number, it'll print out the character at that number. Okay? So you want it to continually go through and print all of them in a row. Okay? This will do all the formatting for you. I promise you. Okay? You want it to get through every single one in your loop.
You didn't see this is not quite
That's all.
Yeah, this part. Cannot find I, you should have in here.
Oh shit.
What is power?
Like, did it explain to me how Daisy and Mickey have been dating for
You don't need it. I'm just telling you right now what this does is this will print out. This will, whatever number you put in here, it will print out that character.
Yeah, I know.
That's all you need to know about this number. I was supposed to print it out vertically.
I remember you did it with something that
Yeah, I did it with Wait, how do you guys do
I remember you did it with like it was in the second month.
Violation?
Why are you doing this?
Oh my god, dude.
Assert dominance.
Dude, this is so cool.
Just like you. Oh, you're so nice. You can get ice cream now. It says it cannot. What the
That compliment was a bad compliment if you know what you meant.
Thank you. You know like wait, I'm actually gonna be so busy.
Like Jake Paul.
He's behind me right now.
No, not terminal.
Come on, Rod.
Place yes.
Yes! Yes!
Oh, that?
Place yes. Place yes at the actual fucking
Anyone got it? You got it?
Me
We
and
go 0-30.
Oh, wait. Running.
Okay, I got you. Got you there.
I got you. Got you.
They gave me
It was like an hour.
Back though, I got what
Got you.
Okay, that's fine.
Oh, I get it there.
We're gonna do this all actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was the kid who left last class really early.
Are you? Okay, here's our answer. So really quick, I'm gonna say that I want the character application I. Okay. This is gonna start at 0. It's gonna continually increase. So I'm starting at 0 and continually increase each time. So that's how I'm gonna print out characters. So now I need to figure out when does it end. So where is this? What number is that? I don't know. I don't really want to count it. The nice thing is we do have this function that does it for us. I is less than str1 dot length. Okay. So for this to work, we have our I. It goes from 0 to the length of the string, which conveniently is every index up till the very last one. And we're just going to print out the character out that index. Okay? Okay, hold on, really quick.
Oh, I did it took staff.
So, what we're going to do is we're going to create something called
What's the rest?
str1.
Under the sea.
Yeah, you know, are you gonna you're being when you're behind the signs like you call it that?
Yeah, right? And then-
Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys a function, okay?
I apologize.
I'm gonna give you guys a function really quick.
What was that?
So here's the function declaration. It's public, static, boolean is palindrome.
I'm just trying to make it really weird
What?
voice.
Oh, palindrome is that
Hey, do you want to see this trick?
So here's what's gonna go in your main. Okay? You're gonna create a string. You can put it whatever you want, and then you're gonna system.out.println is palindrome.
Is that a girl?
So here's your main, public static void main string args. This is going to be your method. It's going to be called public static boolean is palindrome. And this is what you're going to fill in. And then once you got that, you're good to go.
Oh, wait, we can type.
Wait, is that? Oh.
Okay, stop first. That's typing.
Oh my god, there's cow.
Yeah, and divide by 2 semicolon I plus plus parentheses if
Is your girlfriend
she's that's not power at
Jerome is not. It sounds like a,
that's not
it's an incredible film.
n minus 1 minus
Why?
n
Let's
minus
just put some
1
bomb.
same thing.
One is survival in school.
Yeah, n minus 1 minus 7.
That's not how it works. Hey,
Okay, so here's the code to add. To keep this code, you're going to want to type it up. The string 1, you fill in with your own information. Okay? Try filling it in. Try to read the code. Figure out what makes it work. Okay? What input for string 1 returns true? What makes that print out true? Okay?
okay, you know what?